We're talking Bronny James, all right? And this isn't about talking about what Bronny James does on the basketball court. It's just kind of like more or less the business side of what's taking place in the college ranks these days. And, just getting an opinion on it. I was off this whole entire week. I did not do Two Pros and a Cup of Joe. I didn't do Up on Game Saturday. I took a little break. I took a vacation. But I wanted to weigh in on this. But before I weighed in on it, I wanted to make sure we could hear what Jay Williams had to say from ESPN about his take on what LeBron Jr., Bronny James, was thinking in terms of the decisions to declare for the NBA draft while keeping his options open at the college level by entering into the transfer portal. Here's what he had to say.
For me, this is just Bronny James checking out his options, right? Going into the transfer portal, why not go through all the workouts? I know people are going to jump to conclusions like he's definitely going into the draft. Why not see the entire landscape? So open up the portal, see what opportunities are there, go into all these pre-draft workouts, go through the routine, see where you're going to be, see what, Rich Paul and company, what they're going to talk about as it relates to what potential teams you could go to. If that's, late first round, early second, and then weigh out all your options. I think it's a smart move. I'm not going to jump to conclusions by saying Bronny's definitely going to the draft. He's just seeing what the entire landscape looks like.
Yeah, so the first question I had coming out of hearing the announcement, everyone's had so many things to say about it and weighing in on it. My first question was, is it the right decision? I heard Jay Will say smart decision. I think it's a smart decision for a couple reasons. One, because he's not like every other college prospect. He's a pretty good ball player. And I think we all know in terms of his skill level and his potential, he's already proven by playing against some of the guys he's already played with in the past that he can play at the NBA level. He can play in the NBA. So that's not up for debate. Regardless of what we look at as what his body of work was at USC, I think there are a lot of elements that you can put into play in terms of why he didn't have the most dominant of seasons there. I mean, obviously the health scare, dealing with the cardiac arrest issue, and glad he got through that well and was able to actually continue to play, and it wasn't a career-ending prognosis on him. But then there's the idea of one thing that Jay Will mentioned that wasn't in that soundbite there was the mismanagement of how things were taking place at USC. And how that could have played a part in him wanting to look at other schools outside of just staying at USC for another season or so before he declares for the NBA draft. But it led to the next question. Like, let's be clear here. How much of LeBron James' influence plays a part in the decisions that he's making? And I think there's a tremendous amount of influence there. Obviously, it's been stated that LeBron James is going to continue to play basketball until his son is able to make it to the NBA and had the possibility and the chance to play with his dad. I don't have any ill feelings towards that, no malice towards that. I ultimately wonder, how true is that? How true is it that you're actually trying to get to a point in your career where you can play with your son? I mean, so many things would have to play a part in that playing out for you to end up having your son on the same team as you, which kind of leads to the question, because that's a narrative that's always been out there. Is he unfairly scrutinized? Is he unfairly measured and weighed, Bronny James, and what his basketball career is right now? And listen, we all will have opinions on what the scrutiny represents, what comes along with it. Some say to whom much is given, much is required. He's been given a lot because he's Bronny Jr. I mean, that's just what it is. He's LeBron James' son, and he's actually good. He can actually play. We've seen, guys in the past where, you're a Michael Jordan, you're his child, but you're not as good as Michael Jordan is, or maybe even close to it. Now, not saying Bronny James is close to being as good as LeBron, because he's not. but he's good enough to be an NBA player? Is he good enough to be drafted? Is he a draftable? Because while I'll say I think he's an NBA, he has NBA potential and can play in the NBA, is he a draftable NBA talent? Is he a draftable NBA prospect? And if I'm being totally honest with myself, it's a no. I don't think he's a draftable player right now. In fact, I think the wisest decision of it all is to keep your name alive in the transfer portal and possibly find maybe a better scenario or situation that fits what your talents are best somewhere else. Maybe it's coaching, maybe it's personnel, maybe it's environment. I'm not sure which one. Maybe it's all of the above. But I think it's a wise decision if you didn't feel good about what you had in development, because that's the biggest thing for Bronny James right now is development, both mentally and physically. I think that those are the two biggest things. It's not a knock. It's generally what every young athlete needs at the point in time of the age that Bronny James is right now, is more mental development and more physical development. Now, when you're a guy like Kevin Garnett, and I've said this before, if you're a guy like LeBron James, if you're a guy like Kobe Bryant, if you're those types of talent, you don't have to be mentally as far ahead as the people you're going to go up against, because athletically you're going to be right there with them or above and beyond. And as your mental grows, you'll see the results get further and further away from the guys they're playing against in the league. So when I look at Bronny James and what is his situation, it led me to my final question, which was, is it a blessing or is it a curse to be Bronny James? Is it a blessing or a curse? I think it's both, to be honest. I think it's a blessing because you have so many opportunities afforded to you, and real opportunities. And he gets the chance to prove whether those opportunities were because he's the son of LeBron James or because he's deserving of them. And regardless of if you fall on the side of saying he's deserving of it because he's LeBron James' son, he still gets the opportunity to prove to you by his body of work that he's deserving of it because of what his talents allow for him to do, and his skill and what he brings to the table. His body of work gets to play out for him. Now, maybe other guys don't get those opportunities. There's somebody sitting here listening to the show right now. If I was LeBron James's son, I get that opportunity. I wasn't his son, and so I didn't get that opportunity to show somebody my talent and my skill sets and get those opportunities. And I'm sitting at home. And you know what? You're probably 100% correct. But isn't that how life works? So get in where you fit in. LeBron James has created what he's created. Bronny James gets the benefit from that. And if that's giving him the opportunity to prove who he is and what he's able to do, even at the pro level where you can sit there and honestly say he's done absolutely nothing that would give thought of he's ready for the NBA. There's nothing he's done that would have anybody say that, other than he's LeBron James' son. But if it being LeBron James' son, being represented by Maverick and those guys, or Rich Paul and those guys, and going to the next level, he gets that opportunity to prove that he belongs, then that's a blessing. The curse of all of this could possibly be in being that person of LeBron James to make sure your child can make it to that next level and get that opportunity that he's going to receive. If it goes awry, if something doesn't go right, if it goes bad, do you run the risk of him being in that scenario the rest of the way? I wouldn't want to be known as the person that's only making it and doing well because my dad is making it and doing well. I don't want to hold any resentment towards my family based upon opportunities that maybe I didn't necessarily earn on my own and they keep coming up short. There could be the curse in that where it has an emotional toll on him from the certain circumstances of earning things on your own, struggling on your own. And while I think he does struggle on his own, and I do think that there are elements that Bronny, which he is LeBron, he has to endure and he has to go through on his own. He can't have anybody else get him through. I still think that the curse of it all could be all of the fame, all of the fortune, and all of the opportunities. If they don't pan out the way that they're supposed to for him, how will he feel in the end?